Welcome to another episode of What My Heart Learnt with Frances. The imperfect perfect parent is my topic for today. I have stated before in my What Parents Can Learn from Annie Adibia video that the decision of who to marry is not just about you, but about your children. Looking at the exterior of, he is handsome, he is rich, he spends money on me, great in bed, intelligent, etc. And she is beautiful, a great cook, great in bed, makes money too, educated, etc., are not reasons enough to marry that person. Neither is, he looks after me, buys me whatever I want, etc. That man and that woman also need to be ready for parenting. The choice of who you marry not only affects your destiny, but also the destinies of the children you would have with that person. This is when you hear, he is a terrible husband, but a loving father. She is a great mother, but an awful wife. These statements aren't right. Someone cannot be an awful husband to you and a perfect father to your daughter or son. The dynamics of your relationship that the kids see will almost always affect them as adults. Your relationship with their father or mother as a husband or a wife would form their first idea and knowledge of what relationships should be like between a man and a woman. Trust me, children see, they hear, and they know, and it affects their psychology and emotional growth. I believe some don't plan to have kids, but do have kids because it is the expected cultural thing. After marriage or at a certain age, kids should be next. Then some parents in some parts of Africa have kids as a retirement plan, someone to take care of them when they are older. You don't know which of my kids would become a billionaire, some say. Frances Okiki, what do you mean by this topic? Be straight to the point. Am I ever straight to the point? Hehehe, no human is perfect. The task of having a child is like playing a mini god. You can either lead this child to a purposeful life or be the one to derail them. My point is, imagine a selfish, imperfect human saddled with the task of not just creating, but having an impact on the life of another human. Many of us don't read parenting books at all. We just go with the flow. Ada and Amika fell in love, or so Ada thought, and got married. To Amika, having a wife and kids was just the next item to tick off his to-do list. Ada was not really his spec, but she was available, and he believed she would be a good mother. She could cook, clean, and take care of the house. She was homely. They had a daughter named Bree. Other children followed after Bree. Amika was living the life. He had a good and prayerful wife with 5 children and mistresses here and there. All that changed when he met Ijeoma. Ijeoma became his latest mistress, but he decided to marry her. Bree was in secondary school when her father married his second wife. She watched all the turmoil, tears, and pain of her mother, and the disregard and nonchalance from her father. Amika stopped spending time at home anymore. He practically moved in with his second wife in the new house he bought for her. You see, God had destined for Bree to be a great lawyer, a judge, and give birth to a president, among other things. The kingdom of God was going to do a lot with Bree. Bree graduated from secondary school. She got a scholarship to study law in the UK. All she needed was her father's consent because she was 16 years old. In the cultural setting, it was his consent that was needed. Bree told her father about the scholarship. Emeka mentioned Bree's scholarship to his loving new wife, Ijeoma, and Ijeoma advised her darling husband to say no. It was settled. Emeka was bold enough to inform his daughter Bree that his well-educated wife, who knows all things, believes Nigeria would be best. Bree never got to study law in Nigeria. Her admission was either denied by the catchment area issue or mysteriously went from admitted to law to some other course. How do you think Bree would feel about her father, who used to be her hero, and the kids that would spring forth from Ijeoma, and men in general as an adult in the future? Jane and Theophilus got married. When they were dating, Theophilus realized that Jane would tell what he called white lies once in a while. He also noticed that she was very petty and vengeful, but he loved her too much. They had 2 children, a boy and a girl. Their son, Michael, had been destined by God to become the biggest football player to ever come out of Africa. Michael started playing football from the age of 2, after watching it on TV. His little stubby legs would run and fall with the tiny tennis ball he had found in the house. By the age of 15, Michael was handsome, a great footballer, liked by all, and voted the most likely to succeed during his secondary school graduation. As destined, a foreign agent scouted him and he was to travel to Milan to start his international football career. He had played for the under-17 national team, and Michael was all anyone could talk about, and that was no surprise. A few days before leaving the country, Michael had his visa, passport, bags, and everything he needed ready. Michael had seen his mother take money out of his father's wallet. When Theophilus asked about his missing money, without thinking twice, Michael told him he had seen Mummy take it. Jane denied taking her husband's money and called Michael a liar. The matter died down, but Jane was pissed and decided to teach Michael a lesson. I am his mother. I brought him into this world, and I can take him out of it if I want to. She took his travel documents and burned them all. Michael cried like a newborn baby. He almost raised his hand to hit his mother. "Oh, you want to hit me?" Jane thundered. She wanted him to be dealt with some more. She paid some boys to beat him up. In the process of beating him, the boys broke his left leg, his wonder leg. Jane, his mother, was not remorseful. Who does he think he is? Next time he should know I am his mother and give me my full respect. It took time for Michael's leg to heal. The international career opportunity never came again. Michael was stuck playing for local leagues and never made it big. In the end, he stopped playing football and became a bus driver. How do you think Michael feels towards his father for his choice of a wife? And towards all women, thanks to his mother? The truth is that the bad character you saw in that man, that woman before you chose to marry them, your kids would be the ones to receive the psychological, emotional, and physical impact of it all. Imagine how Osinachi, the gospel musician's kids, feel about the father they got, who ended up murdering their mother. He might have been a good father to them, but was that enough? Well, as no human is perfect, no parent is perfect. As children, one loves their parents. Then as you grow older, their flaws, bad choices, good choices, mistakes, and strengths become as clear as day. Corrupt politicians, murderers, bad policemen, embezzlers, and CO are all fathers and mothers, and will be good to their kids. But is that enough? If you are an adult now and you were impacted by the flaws in your parents, or a parent, it is hard. But forgiveness sets you free, not them. It sets you free from the past, the grudges, the bitterness, unforgiveness, and resentment. What they did wasn't right, but they are human, and parents, thus an imperfect, perfect parent. Please forgive them. Forgive the parents who chose to marry them, and learn from their mistakes, so your kids can have a better parent than yours was to you. Just like every other class or degree, parenthood needs to be studied and prayed about. So you don't help the devil destroy the lives of the children or the child that God decides to come through you. Being a great parent does not mean saying yes to everything they ask for. That would lead to breeding entitled kids who don't know how to take no for an answer, and don't know that actions bring consequences. In the end, there's really no perfect manual for parenting, but I believe one can go into it with intention and be led by God, too. Yes, I'm one of those Christians. Unfortunately, humans cannot choose their birth parents. But you see your life partner, and the person you decide to make a baby with, that humans can choose. Also, consider your kids whilst choosing. I might just make a part 2 of this parenting video, because don't get me started on some of the kids today. Thank you so much for listening to What My Heart Learnt with Moe Francis Okiki. I hope you learned a thing or two. I know I did. What are your thoughts?